Your identity creates your reality. And if you want to change your life, if you want to create or manifest the life that you want, changing your identity is the shift that you've been looking for. In this video, what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about how does this work? Why is your identity so powerful? And how can you make the shift in order to be able to get the result, the shift, the things that you truly desire in your life? Not just once in a while when you're lucky or when things manifest, but how do you profoundly, constantly change your life and move into a new reality? This is what we're going to look at in this video. So let's get started. The first thing we need to talk about is, what is identity? What do I really mean by that, right? Your identity is basically nothing more than how you see yourself and what you think of yourself, your relationship with yourself. And I don't simply mean with your body, right? That's a big one, right? How do you relate to your body? But also, how do you relate about your abilities, your skills, your talents, whether you feel like good enough or worthy or lovable or ugly or this or that, right? So you have, throughout your life, from the moment you were born up to today, consciously and unconsciously crafted a personality, an identity, a self-image. And all your life experiences have contributed to create and reinforce, perpetuate that self-image. Now, throughout your life, your self-image has transformed, changed, evolved, right? There's probably been a time when you felt like an imposter, right? You moved into a new job or a new business or a brand new environment and you felt like fake, out of space. And 1 year down the track, you feel like at home, you feel present there, you belong there, so to speak. That's a shift in identity. So this is an example of how identity can change. Now, here's the thing. Your current identity is what is driving your behavior. And for most people who are unaware, unconscious, just living their life on autopilot, what they don't realize is that once you reach a certain point in your life, your result perpetuate your current reality. And we're going to talk about why is that in a moment, okay? But what you need to realize is that the shift, the bridge from your old self into the new self is what is going to enable you to create the result that you want in your life. But the main mistake that most people do is that they wait for the result to happen before changing that identity. When I get the money, then I'll feel rich. Then I'll see myself as being rich, right? When I stop smoking or drinking or that bad habit, then I'll see myself as a non-smoker or I'll see myself as healthy or so on, right? So when I get rid of that condition or when I get the thing that I want, then I will shift my mindset, my attitude and who I am. And this is the pitfall, the number one pitfall that people have, because they let what they have control the way they think and reinforce their current identity. And this is what keeps them stuck in this endless loop of keep on doing the same thing, trying to do different things, using their willpower, buying books, seminars, watching YouTube all day long, and still not creating that big breakthrough, right? Sure, you can have little breaks, you can have many things happening, some magic here and there, some manifestation, but somehow you just cannot break through the ceiling, the main ceiling that you've been trying to break through. And so if you resonate and you feel like you've been stagnating with that, pay very close attention, because this video will give you the key to unlock and break that ceiling, right? And the key is in becoming a new person, because that new identity will create the new reality, and the new reality will then reinforce the identity. But the identity shift comes first and the result later, after, right? This is the cause and this is the effect. This is the cause and this is the effect. So let's break it down a little bit, and I'm going to give you a bit of my old story to illustrate that example. Here's how it works. Your current self right now, your current identity is creating thoughts. You have been thinking in the same way probably for a long time. You have the same stories, the same perceptions, the same projections, the same thoughts and loops and things that goes on in your mind over and over and over again. And every day, science is showing us, for a lot of people, 90% of those thoughts are repetitive, are the same, somewhat different, but they remain in the same group. And so you go through life thinking, seeing, perceiving, focusing on the same old thing. You go and you make the same decisions. You buy the same things, you watch the same things, you hang out with the same people, you live your life the same way. You are very predictable because you're thinking in the same way, and your thinking leads to the choices and decisions that you make. And those leads to doing the same old things, making the same old action, the same old habit and inactions, right? Maybe you want to take action on your goal, maybe you want to do certain things, but you hold back, you procrastinate, you overthink, you're afraid, you delay, right? And all of this is contributing to you feeling a certain way, right? How do you feel most of the time in your life, in your day-to-day life? What is your emotional home? Do you navigate toward worry? Do you navigate toward anxiety, anger or frustration or shame? What do you feel like most of the time? And all of those elements create your life, right? How you think, how you act, and how you feel inevitably leads to the result that you have in your life today. And these all results reinforce the identity, and the identity reinforces the perception, and the loop goes on. So I'm going to give you an example. I used to believe many years ago, I had this idea that I was shy, introverted, timid. I used to believe that I was too tall. So I am 1.96 meters. So when I was going to high school and before that as a teenager, I started growing faster than everybody and taller than everybody. And people started to say, you're too tall, why are you so tall, right? So I was getting all those comments, and I started to think, to associate, to identify with it's negative, it's bad, something's wrong with me. So it started to affect my confidence. It started to make me, introverted, shy, timid. I started not wanting to be seen. I started to feel humiliated, ashamed, right? So it affected my self-esteem, my self-worth, my self-confidence. It started to affect, the way I was thinking, the decisions I was making, the feeling, the anxiety, social anxiety, the worry, the feeling inadequate, the urge to trying to be successful and please others. And all of this was creating the result that I used to get, which is I didn't like my life. And this led to me trying to change things so much. I started going to seminars, I started learning NLP and hypnotherapy and coaching and buying coaches and coaching and all these kind of things in order to find a solution to change that. And all along, all that money I spent, all that time, all that effort, all those years studying self-help books have helped, but I was still struggling at the core with the same thing in my relationship, in my social life, in my money, in my business. I was still struggling until I understood that my self-image, my identity is why I was not breaking through that ceiling. And so the moment I started to break through the idea that I was too tall, that I was timid, that I was shy, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't, that I had all those poverty thoughts that I used to have, the moment I started to break them away, renounce them, move away from them, and the moment I started to affirm something new, the moment I started to accept myself, the moment I started to have those new thoughts about myself, about my body, about my ability, about my skills, about money, about life, I started making different decisions. I started to have more courage, right? In my feeling, I started to have more courage, more confidence, more self-belief. I started facing my fears in the decisions and choice and actions I was taking. And all of a sudden, magic, synchronicity, manifestation, clients showing out of nowhere, money showing up out of nowhere, getting amazing deals. And the momentum, the ball was rolling. And this is truly when I broke through that ceiling, I started truly to realize the power of changing your identity. And so I tell you from personal experience, breaking so many ceilings in my own life, going from being a people pleaser, afraid of being rejected, afraid of so much things, in the past, I would have been so unable to make a video like this, to post it on social media. It was unthinkable for the old self. And I do this work with my clients all the time, and I can tell you that when they leave their old self behind and when they start to embody that new self, over time, everything changes. The way they feel, the way they think, the result in their life, people noticing the changes, the magic happening in their life, the manifestation, the result, so many things starts to realign because they moved into the new self. Because think about it, if you want to create a new life, you cannot create a new life with the same old thoughts, with the same bitterness, with the same worry, with the same story about poverty and lack and not enoughness. And you cannot make the same old decision that you don't have the time, that you're waiting for the right time, that you're waiting to read all the books, that you're waiting to be perfect. You cannot procrastinate in the same way, make the same actions and inactions. You cannot keep on feeling sorry for yourself. You cannot keep on feeling angry and bitter and anxious all the time and live in that low energy contracted state and fucking expect things to change, things to manifest, and wonder what the fuck is my manifestation, and then go back watching more videos, go back reading more books, go back listening to more podcasts, go back just getting that overload of information and never really working on your self-image, really committing to change your self-image, not just one fucking day, not just 1 month, but constantly, as long as it takes until you have that life, until you have completely broken through that ceiling and being so far ahead. So then the question is how, right? That's the question. If you are here right now and you want to move into this new self to get the new result, where do you get started? And I'm going to give you a very simple way to get started because I want this video to be simple. The first thing is you need to accept I am here, right? You must be honest with yourself. At some point, you gotta be like, you know what? I struggle with negative self-thought and a poor attitude, and I make decisions that are not aligned with the life that I want. I'm not doing the visualization. I'm not working out. I'm not following through my words. I'm not being the person that I know I need to be to make those results. I know I'm feeling a certain way. I know I'm anxious. I know I'm overthinking. I know I'm going through all those things. So you gotta be honest with yourself. Okay, don't beat yourself up. This is just self-awareness. Self-awareness is what enables you to take the next step. Because what you don't know, what you don't accept, you will deny, you will resist, and you won't be able to change. So self-awareness is the first step to move on the other side. Then the next step is very simple. What do you really want? And all of you here are gonna have a very unique answer. I don't know what you want. What is the result? What are you trying to change, create, manifest? What is the kind of life you want to live? But you must be very clear about it to the best of your ability right now. Once you know what you want, you can now start to answer the next question. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to become for me to create and cause those results in my life? So what does that look like? You must start to look at what are the new thoughts. So if I'm starting to manifest money and wealth and change my financial situation, I can no longer think in poverty way. I can no longer make the same choice around money. I can no longer, act and buy things out of, emotional shopping addict and feel guilty and feel sad and feel worried and expect to become wealthy, right? So you gotta reverse engineer it. What are the thoughts of the wealthy person? What are the thoughts of the wealthy me? What is the decisions that I need to make differently? What are the actions that I must take differently? When I pay my bill, can I be grateful? When I spend money, when I circulate money, can I be grateful? Can I appreciate it? Can I bless it? Can I bless successful people instead of judging them and being envious and resenting them? Can I shift my relationship with money so I can shift my life and my result with money? Same with your body, right? If you're feeling unhappy, unsexy, if you're feeling like you don't like your body or your skin or your nose or your hair or whatever, can you start loving yourself in your thoughts first? Can you start appreciating yourself, accepting yourself where you are on your journey, seeing the beauty in yourself, making different choices in your diet, in how you feed your body, in how you talk to yourself, taking different actions to support the health and the sexiness and the beauty that you're trying to create? All of this will start to make you feel worthy, loving toward yourself. And this will start to create tremendous new result. There's no other way. Even if you look at it from just plain common sense, if you change those 3 things, something is bound to change here. But don't give up if it takes a little bit of time, because what can happen is that your old identity can be so rooted for years, decades sometimes, of feeling angry, of feeling unworthy, of feeling not good enough, that it might take a bit of time for that momentum to fade away and for the new momentum to kick in and override that new personality and completely erase it from your neurology. So then what are the tools that you can use, the techniques, right, to embody that now and print it out in your subconscious mind? I share a lot of breakdown videos. I'm not going to break it down, but there are a few. Visualization. You can start visualizing yourself having that body, having that job, having that relationship, having the financial situation that you desire, making those decisions, right? So you can see yourself in those 3 things, being different, no longer resenting others, being kind, all these type of things. You can affirm, right? You can, instead of letting those old thoughts, that constant negative chatter going on, you can replace it with new affirmation and override that old self-talk with a new self-talk, with a new program that your subconscious mind will then act on. Those are 2 big, powerful deals. The third one is to act as if you are already that person. Your subconscious mind is smart. Intuitively, once you make the decision, I'm going to be this way, you'll get insight, you'll get intuition, you'll get little moments where you feel like this is what I need to do. This is what the old self would have done. This is what the new self can do. I can dress differently. I can walk tall. I can smile. I can give compliment to people. I can show up in whichever capacity I can right now that represent that new self. I can say no instead of saying yes, right? All those little things. If you do it over and over again, you are going to take all that power, all that energy that you've put over the years and decades sometimes to feed and create that old self and those old results and patterns into the new self. And the cause will create the effect by default. You attract not what you want, but you attract who you are and who you are being. And that's why your identity creates your reality. So if you change your identity, you will change your life. That's it for this video, guys. I hope it makes sense. I hope it was simple. I invite you to get started on it. If you have any question, make sure you write it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this. I'll see you next time. Be well.